When is Manhattan not Manhattan? When it's the Little Apple, Roosevelt Island. Roosevelt Island is actually one of New York City's best-kept secrets, one that even native New Yorkers don't know much about, even if 2025 marks the 50th anniversary of residents calling the island home. But at various times, it's been the place where people like actresses Sarah Jessica Parker and Scarlett Johansson, UN Secretary General Kofi Annan, and Al Lewis, who played Grandpa on The Munsters, all thought of as home. It sits in the middle of the East River, with Manhattan Island to the west and Queens to the east, about a block wide and 2 miles long, running from 47th to 86th Streets. Before we take our trip north to south, let's stop at the visitors' kiosk just to the west of the tram. The kiosk has an interesting history of its own. If you drive onto the Queensboro Bridge from 2nd Avenue, you'll see a kiosk and a large green lamp at the entrance. And you'll find their identical twins, well, partial twin in the case of the lamp, at the visitor center on Roosevelt Island. The kiosks were for the trolley that took people between Manhattan and Queens, with a regularly scheduled stop on what was then called Blackwell's Island and then Welfare Island. There were 5 of them when the bridge opened in 1909. Just the 2 survive. The kiosk you see here was the entrance to the Brooklyn Children's Museum for more than 3 decades, before it was rescued and taken by truck to the site near the original location of the Elevator Storehouse, which was demolished in 1970. The Roosevelt Island Historical Society Visitor Center opened to the public in June of 2007. The Visitor Center is a repository for the island's history, through several different name changes and population shifts. And it's a great place to pick up souvenirs and tchotchkes, from books and coffee mugs to earrings shaped like the tram. It's run by Roosevelt Island Historical Society President Judith Birdie, seen here with her colleague Gloria Herman. Judy literally wrote the book on the island, and she'll be joining us for a Q&A in a separate video. Most of the off-island transportation options are clustered at the southern end. The first way to get onto the island that didn't involve a boat was through the aforementioned 9-story Elevator Storehouse, adjacent to the Queensboro Bridge. From the opening of the Queensboro to not long after the opening of the Welfare Island Bridge, the trolley would deposit passengers on the roof of the storehouse for the trip down to the island. The elevators took not only pedestrians, they also accommodated cars, trucks, and even ambulances. You can see the elevators in action in a 1963 episode of the series Naked City called Carrier. The trailer appears in a 2021 Instagram post by The Ghost of Queen's Past, and at the time we're recording this, the episode in its entirety is available on YouTube and streams on Tubi. A sign on the trolley kiosk on the Queens side mentions a transfer to the Q102 bus, which still serves the island today. After its descent down the helix, the Q102 stops at Foodtown and the post office, then heads north to Kohler Hospital and Rehabilitation Center before returning to make stops at the Chapel of the Good Shepherd, the subway, and the tram. If you ask any New Yorker, or anybody really, what they know about Roosevelt Island, odds are they'll mention the tram. Over the years, it's become the symbol of the island. As we said, you can even buy tram earrings at the visitor center. While there's no question that it's a major tourist attraction, you'll hear languages spoken from Afrikaans to Zuni, it's also been an important means of transportation for islanders looking to get to the east side, since it opened in 1976 as a temporary measure, as the first commuter aerial tramway in the United States. The tram runs parallel to the Queensboro Bridge just to the north of it and leaves passengers off on the west side of 2nd Avenue between 59th and 60th Streets. The tram station is fully accessible, with 2 elevators running between the platform and the street, and it's a free transfer to other transportation like the M15, M31, and M57 local buses, and the N, R, W, F, and Q trains. Both MetroCards and Omni are accepted. It runs every 7.5 minutes during rush hour, every 15 minutes otherwise, and it's open from 6 a.m. to 2 a.m. weekdays until 3:30 a.m. on weekends. For transport 24/7, there's the subway. Now it's the F train. When service first reached the island in 1989, it was the Q and the B. Next stop uptown is 21st Street, Queensbridge. Downtown is 63rd and Lex. The newest addition to the transportation landscape is the NYC Ferry, which has its landing just east of the tram. Roosevelt Island is part of the Astoria route, which went into service in August of 2017. The line starts in Manhattan at East 90th Street and continues on to Astoria before docking at the Roosevelt Island Ferry Terminal. Next stop southbound is Long Island City, where you can get an up-close and personal look at the legendary Pepsi-Cola neon sign, which has lived in Long Island City since 1936 and has been lighting up the sky in its present location in Gantry Plaza State Park since 2009. Then it's off to East 34th Street, where you can get a free transfer to the East River or Soundview routes. By the way, the ferry is the way to go for an appointment at NYU Langone. It's just 11 minutes from Roosevelt Island to 34th Street. Next up are the Brooklyn Navy Yard and Pier 11 Wall Street. The entire route takes about 50 minutes start to finish. Compared to tourist routes or ferry costs in other cities, Ferry NYC is a relative bargain. From its inception, it had been increasing in cost in tandem with subways and buses, but the price for a one-way ticket was increased to $4.50 in September 2024, reportedly to help offset passenger subsidies. And while there are free transfers to other ferry routes, unlike other public transportation, there are no free transfers to subway, buses, or the tram. But it's a lovely ride. There's also the option of driving onto the island, even though there's no longer an elevator taking you down from the Queensboro Bridge, and you can only get there from Queens. If you're driving from Manhattan, the easiest way is to take the upper level of the Queensboro Bridge, accessible from 57th or 58th Streets. Bear right as you're exiting the bridge, make a right onto 21st Street, take the first left onto Queens Plaza South, and when that comes to an end, turn right onto Vernon Boulevard. When you get to the light at 36th Avenue, wait for the arrow, then turn left, and you're on the Roosevelt Island Bridge. At the end of the bridge, you can turn left to take the helix down onto the island itself, but there's not a lot of parking, so you'll probably want to turn right and self-park in the Motorgate garage. If you're used to parking in the city, you'll find the rates surprisingly reasonable. A little about the bridge itself. It opened to traffic in 1955 as the Welfare Island Bridge. It was named a Most Beautiful Steel Bridge by the American Institute of Steel Construction, and it's a working drawbridge. A word to the wise, do not drive to Roosevelt Island during UN Week, when all boat traffic is redirected to the East Channel. We've told you how to get on and off the island. Now you need to know how to get around other than using your feet. That's where the red bus comes in. It's called the red bus because, well, it's a red bus. It runs in a loop from the Octagon to South Point Park, makes stops at all the major means of transportation as well as the supermarket, the church, and the library, and keeps roughly the same hours as the tram. And best of all, it's free. Don't sail away just yet. We'll explore the island from north to south in video number 2 coming up next. I'm Anita Bonita for Channel NYC.